Transparency leads to transformation. As a speaker and a teacher, it is our goal to leave and spark change and transformation in the lives of the people who we encounter. Do we leave the people feeling better afterwards? Are they empowered to change? Do we make a lasting impact? Oftentimes, before we ourselves can lead others through a transformation process, we have to experience it ourselves. So, in the natural sense, I went through a change and a transformation. My hair was going through a change. There was parts that was uneven, some was shorter, some were longer, some parts were straight, some parts were natural 4C curly, some parts had been rubbed out. Perm and new growth was all mixed in there. It was going through a change. Well, guess what? I had to make a decision. Well, what is the best way to correct this? What is the best way to transition my hair into healthy hair? I had to make a change. I had to change the way I maintained my hair. How often I maintained it, how often I washed it, conditioned it, deep conditioned it, treated it, managed it, styled it. I needed to make a change. So I needed a style where I didn't have to be dependent on someone else or going to someone else to style my hair. I need something that I could manage and maintain myself. So just a backstory, over the years, I've been blessed with a lot of people who've done my hair and styled my hair and kept my hair styled up. Um, and sometimes in between those visits, I wouldn't maintain them. I would just slap on a wig and wait until my next appointment. Oh, I may wash it, but I didn't maintain it like it should. It didn't get the TLC, the 10 level cut, like it needed in between those visits. So, but this time, that needs to change. This transition was necessary. This time, this change was going to be transformational. This new style that I got symbolized transition and independence of people, but dependency and trust in God. God sent me two people in my life who guided me through this process. Help me make a decision. Help me decide what that transition looked like. Help me look through pictures and see what I like. They guide me every step of the way. Shout out to you who helped me. They had answers to questions that I didn't have. They were able to identify things I couldn't identify. They were able to see, what looked good on me, what fit my face. We were able to go through that process together and getting to the place where the change was happening. They're supporting every step of the way. Well, you may ask, well, what is transformation exactly? Well, Merriam-Webster defines it as the act of being transformed. So, if you look at the root word transform is to change in composition or structure, to change the outward appearance or form, or to change the appearance of, to change in character or condition, to convert. So, what is my transformation? What is my change? Well, my hair structure. It changed in composition. Some of you know me or seen pictures of me of the girl with the waves, having a perm in the waves. You may have seen me sometimes when I didn't have it with just my natural hair or the slick back. Or you may see me with the sewing back from Exodus. You may see me in the times where I wore the wig. But what is the change that I made today? What is the transformation that I made today? I had to cut it. I had to cut off the straight parts where the perm was. I had to cut down my hair so it was even on both sides. It had to cut it down so that it was even all around. I had to get it shaped up into a style. I had to cut it so it could grow. When we think about cutting, we think about change, think about plants, think about flowers. We think about gardening. When plants grow, sometimes the leaves turn brown. And if you garden and you're taking care of those, you have to take off those brown leaves so your plant can continue to grow. Because if you leave that dead thing attached, the plant dies, right? Just like the trees on the branches, those branches that die fall off or have to be cut off. Like the word says, those branches that are not living, that are dead, are cut off and burned into the shaft. Like, listen how God prunes us and cut the dead things away. There are times in our lives that we have to cut the dead things away. So for me, naturally, the dead hair, the poor hair had to be cut off, right? So what's the lesson in this? I had to let go of what no longer served me. I had to be willing to cut back to scale up. I understood in my process. I was nervous, but in my mind, I knew the principle. I understood that cutting is a catalyst for growth. So I knew in my mind that this was the best way, and I knew that that same principle of cutting back for growth applied to my hair as well. But because I'm in this season of transformation, I understand it applies to my life. I gotta declutter. I gotta get some things away, throw some things away. I gotta make room for the new, even cutting or transforming some relationships. That's the season I'm in. Transformation and change. And this cutting this down was just a symbolism of the season. I mean, it's time for change. It's time for transformation. So I plan to document this journey and then for transparency, share the lessons with you along the way. The lessons that I learned from this season. The lessons that I learned from transitioning God's way. So I invite you to come along with me, follow along with me on this journey as I continue not only in a natural change, but a spiritual change and transformation. You know, I've already experienced some of that. I went from being an insecure, unsure, quiet, afraid to speak girl to now I'm becoming the woman of God, the teacher, the preacher, the pastor, the author, the CEO, the entrepreneur that God has called me to be, the encourager. I'm transforming and I'm still becoming that person that God's called me to be. So I invite you to join me on this journey of transformation and change. Feel free to engage with any of the content that you see on any of my socials on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, X. Feel free to drop a comment, like it, share it, subscribe, cut your notification bells on all the posts, all my social. You can go on notifications and cut them off so you don't miss a beat. So on whichever platform the Lord leads me to share on, you're getting the message, you're seeing the journey, you're seeing the process that God has me on. So you're invited to join me to see the process. There's a blessing in the process. I understand that transparency leads also to healing. And so the more that I share and the more that you share, it'll encourage somebody else. So come along, follow, like, subscribe. But I also want to encourage you to think about, are you in a season of change or have you gone through change? What was it like for you? How did you handle it? Let's chat. Let's talk in the comments. So comment down below. Let me know about your change or transformation experience. This is PJ. I pray you have a blessed day. Bye.